Hello and welcome to the Poultry Network podcast. I'm Tom Woolman, and unfortunately this week, Tom Willings has been having some technical issues, and myself and Jake have been trying very, very hard to connect with him for the past 45 minutes to no avail. So this week, it's just me, Tom, but I am joined by Jake Davies. I was almost going to call you Jake Davies there, wasn't I? So that would be a new alter ego for you. Jake Davies, Editor-in-Chief of Poultry Network. Welcome to your own podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. I think Jake Davies sounds like some sort of broadcast supremo, so maybe that could be my moniker when I appear on the podcast from now on.
Jake Davies.
Jake Davies reporting.
The business correspondent. So we were going to chat to you anyway, Jake, because we wanted to talk a little bit about the Poultry Network live event that's coming up on the 3rd of September. Mm-hmm. Tickets are still available, I believe. So if people are interested in buying one, then please go onto the Poultry Network website and have a look. So, but you've got some other stuff going on at the moment, haven't you? I know you've got a report on Poultry Network website linked to feed, and with some interesting insights into what's going on with the feed market at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's been a summer of feed stories, hasn't it, really? I mean, the huge news from ABN, which has been covered, was last week's episode with you and Tom Willings mentioned, and it's been all over the farming press. So we do a regular feed report on Poultry Network and through the newsletter, which comes out every 4 weeks, but the newsletter comes out every Friday. So we've got a bit of a summary, which is written by Ken Randall, who's been doing it for yonks and yonks and yonks.
Well, is it okay to describe Ken as a veteran? He is a poultry business news veteran, isn't he?
Yeah. He worked on Poultry World for many years. I shouldn't say too many because, it's very experienced. But yeah, it's a bit of a roundup. But I mean, there's various other things, Reuters, other sources of information. They're all sort of talking about disruption to feed. The big news one would be Black Sea conflict and disruption there, but then there's also obviously tremendous amounts of drought across Europe. So yeah, we're also hearing stuff about demand from other livestock sectors as the winter comes because various other crops haven't done so well. So yeah, it'd be an interesting one to watch, and I think probably once the next planning meeting we have with you and Tom Willings, we should maybe get someone on who can give us a bit of a more detailed update about the feed market for sure. But yeah, one to watch, I think. Yeah,
because the stuff is definitely turning already. Prices for feed are up £30 a tonne on where they were a number of months ago. So as you say, there's various factors coming together, which are meaning that the historic low feed prices that we've seen, or I suppose the gap between where the feed prices are and where margins have been, actually has been a sort of historic low, hasn't it? Or the gap has been wide.
Yeah, and again, the other, again, it was touched on last week in the podcast, but the egg prices and the egg market as well, not looking so hot. So we will definitely be looking at that in more detail in the coming weeks as well.
Yeah.
So interesting times ahead, I think.
The other thing I've heard people chatting about, and you'll have to forgive me because I don't have a Netflix subscription in the Woolman household, but there's a chicken documentary on Netflix, isn't there, with, I think, comedian Mo Gilligan.
I caught about probably 2/3 of it, so I can't give a rigorous insight into the program had I watched all of it. But it's interesting. I think a lot of people in the UK poultry sector probably find it quite frustrating because it's a British comedian, but the focus of the chunk of the episode I've seen so far is the American poultry industry, which is quite, it's not completely different, but it's slightly dissimilar. And the thing I didn't quite understand was he did the sort of Super Size Me thing where he ate only fried chicken for breakfast, lunch and dinner for 28 days. And that doesn't really sit with a kind of detailed look at the poultry sector. He's looking at the practices and a lot of focus on ultra processed foods and things. And again, that's not quite the same in America as it is in the UK. I sort of, at one point he's in an American. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, and one of the reasons why chicken is so popular and has seen growth year on year is because actually people are more health conscious and they're looking for a lean protein. So chicken is actually a healthy option as you say, I think anyone watching it and saying you're going to eat fried chicken for 28 days, 3 times a day, well, you're going to feel terrible at the end. But and I was actually chatting to a grower as well this week who'd watched it, and they weren't. I think the trouble is there's going to be this conflation between what happens in the US, and I think there was some stuff to raise your eyebrows when it comes to labour practices and all sorts of stuff that goes on in the US and environmental protection. And people will watch that. They will look at what goes on in the US and they will assume that that's what happens in the UK, because I'm really not sure that the documentary, from what I've heard, differentiates between the two. It just sounded like a little bit of a sloppy gimmick, really, with no new information, just a load of things thrown together.
I don't know. I mean, there's probably some criticisms to answer. I mean, I guess, where Mo Gilligan comes from, central, I think around the outskirts of London, there is a huge amount of fried chicken shops out there. So, potentially people are exposed to slightly less healthy diets than a healthy chicken Caesar salad. So I get that as a hook to bring in the program. And I understand probably actually that, America's a far bigger audience. So probably makes sense to make the program over there rather than sort of looking at our thing. So there's elements of it. But, one of the things I was just about to say, he was in the supermarket in the US and he picked up some frozen chicken, breaded chicken, and the ingredients list was as long as your arm, sort of thing. And as you say, I don't think that it's quite the same in the UK. Certainly, I looked at KFC's ingredients list and there's far fewer kind of sort of strange ingredients in it. There's MSG, I think, and the 11 secret herbs and spices, but seems far more innocuous than the sort of super ultra processed frozen chicken that you'd find in an American supermarket. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think, as I say, I think it'll frustrate a lot of people in the UK poultry sector. Perhaps we should try and get Mo Gilligan on, so we could maybe we're a bit below his stature. I don't know.
Well,
if you're listening, Mo,
you'll have to be paying me a bit more then, Jake, because I'll need to take out a Netflix subscription then if I'm going to do that.
Yeah. So we could
lost the big spenders.
Yeah. If anyone out listening has got anything to say about it, get in touch. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to what you hear.
People are certainly talking about it on the ground. People are certainly taking an interest. Anyway, should we move on to the conference that's coming up on the 3rd of September?
Yes. Yeah. It's just under 3 weeks away. It's very exciting. Harper Adams.
It is. Yeah. And you start off the day with a poultry boardroom outlook, and I see you've got someone from a boardroom from the egg sector and from the meat sector. You've got Patrick Hook from PD Hook Hatcheries, and you've got Ken Clow from Noble Foods. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be looking at big picture stuff, isn't it?
Scene setting, yes, as you put it. There's always a danger with conference organising of sounding quite grand, but we've got two great people who can give us a real overview of, how each side of the sector is faring meat and eggs. So that's the idea with the first session. We're also hoping to have someone from HSBC join us to give their perspective on that broader agricultural landscape. So it's a good opener. We always do it. I haven't called it the boardroom outlook before, but we always try and kick off the conference with some senior people telling us what's going on in their businesses and how they see the sort of sector evolving in the next sort of 12 months or so, basically. We've got a fairly not fixed format, but that's something we've always tried to do at the start of every event we've ran.
And then you move on to a health discussion, which is chaired by Daniel Parker, who's been on the podcast previously talking about Newcastle disease.
Yep.
You've got Jack Hughes from Live Tech chatting on the panel, and Ashley Banyard as well.
Yeah.
From APHA.
Previously we've had Gordon Hickman, and Ashley's going to do a similar role to what Gordon's brilliantly done in the past. Ashley spoke at the Turkey Science and Production Conference in March, which, if you're interested in turkeys you've not been to, make sure you go this time. Not again. But he's a senior scientist at the APHA, so he's going to give an overview predominantly of what the season's looking ahead for avian influenza. What to expect, how many cases we might get, and it's based on their monitoring of all sorts of things like wild bird movements and stuff like that. So it's a really valuable session to give you an idea of what might be coming up as the weather turns. Well, it might turn cooler. It's hard to know at this point, isn't it?
It'd be nice if it was a little bit cooler in September. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And I see you've got a special keynote address as well about AI and how AI is going to impact our sector. And we're not talking about avian influenza here. Presumably, this is artificial intelligence.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's the other AI. So basically, these two consultants we've asked to look at the poultry sector, and they're speaking to a few producers and looking at a couple of businesses called Conquer AI. I'm pleased to say they've actually said they'll come on the podcast after we've had them at the conference anyway. But they're specialists in implementing what are called large language models, which most people recognise as the chat GPTs that you talk to and get answers back. And I know that, I'm a big user of it in my business and for all sorts of different things, but I know some people have tried it and not found it useful, or tried it and not got the right results back and things like that. So what they're hoping to do is run through exactly how you can implement it effectively and efficiently within your business specifically. So there's all sorts of things they're looking at, whether it's data management, whether it's getting, understanding more of the numbers that are coming out from the sheds and things like that, and interpreting them better, right the way through to sort of managing staff, setting standard operating procedures, looking at your finances, things like that. And there's all sorts of different areas that the businesses should be adopting this technology to stay ahead. So I'm really looking forward to that session, particularly as someone who uses it a lot myself for all sorts of different things.
And then in the afternoon, you've done this in previous years, but the sessions then split up, don't they, into specific broiler meat and or poultry meat rather, I should say, and egg sessions. So we've got a health session in the afternoon, one for broilers and one for layers, and then you've also got a business session at the end of the day, looking at the specifics of what the challenges are and what the opportunities are in each of those sectors. So I see you've got a friend of the podcast, Graham Atkinson, is chairing the business session for the egg sector, and Patrick Snodgrass is chairing the session for the broilers side, which is I'm interested to hear him speak actually, because he's a consultant that's doing a lot of work with broiler farmers at the moment, helping them understand their businesses and how their figures stack up. So I think it will be quite interesting for him to chair the session and see what comes out of that.
And of course, we've got you chairing the broiler health session, Tom Woolman. Let's not hide away.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be like me, would it, to sit at the back? No, I'm really looking forward to that. I've got Stuart Thompson from Aviagen and Pippa Abbey from Seva that I'm going to be talking to about the challenges and opportunities, again, about performance and welfare.
Yeah. And, of course, other friend of the podcast, David Hodson. We'll be able to say that about everyone soon, won't we? Because
we'll get everyone in the end, yeah.
We'll get everyone in the end, yeah. So, good. And he's joined by a couple of friends from St. David's Vets as well. So, the idea of the afternoon sessions is we think it's important that both egg and poultry meat get a chance to sort of interact. That's part of the reason we do the day. But then, obviously, we recognise that these sessions in the afternoon, they're a little bit more focused. And they're also a little bit smaller. So if you feel like you want to contribute or talk or put your points forward and you're not in a huge lecture theatre, it's potentially a bit easier to do so. So yeah, that's Poultry Network Live 2026.
So if people want to buy tickets, what do they do?
You can email me. That's the easiest way. Jake at dmediagroup.com. That's DEE, like the River Dee goes to Chester, mediagroup.com. But we've got all the details on the website as well. If you go to poultry.network, there's a tab with all the full agenda and everything else, all the other information you might need. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been lovely to chat to you, Jake. And I've been very, very sorry that we're not talking to Tom this week, but that's the trouble when you live out in the sticks like Tom does. He does live a very rural lifestyle. He's got
a peacock outfit. Maybe that's been packing his router. We'll get him.
Or we could just blame the drought. Blame the drought
yes.
like everyone else is affecting our day-to-day working practices.
Yeah,
so anyway, hopefully some rain coming next week. I am looking at my weather app, and it's saying there might be some rain on Tuesday. So I'll be out there looking up. To me, the rain is far more interesting than the solar eclipse.
Yeah. I saw a brilliant picture on LinkedIn that Hendrix Genetics put up with some chickens with eclipse glasses. I thought it was a good use of AI if I ever saw one.
Yeah, well, they were asking the question, weren't they, whether the eclipse would impact people's laying cycles, or would it impact the hens laying? And the answer was no, because as everyone knows who listens to the podcast, hens lay based on duration, light duration during the day, and not necessarily intensity. So there we go.
Indeed. Well, with that very topical fact for people to take away, I think maybe we should wrap up and hopefully see people at the conference in a couple of weeks.
Very good.
But if not, we'll be back with another episode, hopefully with Tom Willings and not me.
Yeah, no offense. No, none
taken. Cool.
All right. Nice to see you, Jake. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Tom. Take care.